This is
Okay. Can you, sorry, can you put it through?
now it's on.
Okay, so this is.
раз. Dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming here on time. We do apologize for starting the event pretty late due to unprecedented weather conditions and a huge traffic jam. We're about to start in 10-15 minutes. Thank you for your patience. Hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, ob-havo va tirbandlik sababli biz tadbirimizni 10-15 minut ichida boshlaymiz. Уважаемые дамы и господа, спасибо большое, что вы посетили сегодняшний форум. Мы из-за погодных условий начинаем наше событие через 10-15 минут.
И еще раз спасибо всем, кто пришел вовремя. Просим искренне от лица IT-парка, приносим свои извинения. Извините.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, a very good morning to everyone. My name is Sultan and I'm pleased to be the host for today's event. Due to the weather conditions, we had to start a bit later before planned. So thank you for your patience. Anyway, I'm deeply honored to welcome each and every one of you to today's Uzbekistan Outsourcing Forum 2023 and would like to thank you very much for gathering from different parts of the world to be our guests for today's event. The purpose of today's session is to shed the light on the immense outsourcing potential which is there in our beautiful, welcoming and wonderful country of Uzbekistan. It's truly a momentous occasion as we gather here in the heart of Tashkent at the conference hall of the Ministry of Digital Technologies of the Republic of Uzbekistan, having guests and industry leaders literally from all across the world. Dear guests, you can see the agenda of our event on your seats, and please be informed that our session is divided into two main parts. The first part covering the main insightful speeches and presentations conducted by our honorable speakers, and the second part covering the panel discussion, which will elucidate the opportunities and challenges of IT-enabled services outsourcing in Uzbekistan. Truly, today we are starting a journey to explore and unleash the vast potential of IT outsourcing and BPO potential in Uzbekistan. We're here to discuss government outsourcing and BPO companies and to unravel the incredible opportunities that our country has to offer. Thank you very much. Now let me draw your attention to a special video that we have prepared which shows the true essence of Uzbekistan's thriving IT industry. Thank you so much.
Who are we? We are a strategic location connecting Europe and Asia. We are 36 million people, the largest in Central Asia. We are 60% of the population under 30. We are 5.7% GDP growth rate. We are the fourth most affordable city in the world. We are 9th, the safest country. We are 15th lowest internet cost. We are a country with 99% of internet coverage. With 99.99% literacy rate. We are 5 million English speakers. We are 60,000 freelancers. We are more than 20,000 IT specialists. We are more than 1,400 tech-based enterprises. We are more than 500 IT export-oriented companies. We are more than 300 foreign tech companies. We are a 0% tax rate for IT companies. We are fully committed to fostering innovation and entrepreneurship. We are the IT hub of Central Asia. Uzbekistan is the new outsourcing hub. We welcome you to grow your business with us.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Now, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce the chief of today's event, the visionary leader behind Uzbekistan's digital transformation, the Honorable Minister of Digital Technologies of the Republic of Uzbekistan, Mr. Sherzod Shermatov. So please welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, dear guests. It's my honor to welcome you here in today's event. And of course, making early morning event for IT people who would like to stay up until late night, it's not so easy, especially if they are coming from all over the world with all the jet lag. So I would like to welcome you again. So you have reached up until this moment. and we are launching our today's IT outsourcing. This is a very important event within the framework of ICT Week event, and why we would like to deliver the message about Uzbekistan, because we've been in many countries already, in the United States, in Europe, in developed Asian countries. Many companies in the world are nowadays interested in thinking about improving their competitiveness by reducing their costs. But when they think about reducing their costs, they are of course thinking about outsourcing. But usually what comes to their mind is established markets like India, Philippines, and others. Here today we would like to deliver the message that Uzbekistan offers also very best value for your business, and we will help you grow your business with us because of very good demographic situation, very growing demographic situation in Uzbekistan, very high interest and investment in education quality, so that you will not get just the quantity of human capital, but also the quality in the future. And therefore, this year's ICT Week's main theme is human capital in ICT. And in addition to all the tax benefits and all the regulatory changes which we are ready to do, tax benefits already include that IT companies, they don't pay any taxes, and the workers in IT companies, they also pay less taxes than in other countries. And of course, we have a very good team of experts here, Farhad and his team, who are ready to listen to all your suggestions to make your presence, to make your business even more beneficial to you and for the people of Uzbekistan. If we have to change anything in our current legislation, if we should make any extra efforts, we are ready to do. And this is our commitment for you. And please feel free like home, and please look forward for long-term development together with Uzbekistan's IT field. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Following this inspiring and informative speech, a very insightful presentation is waiting for us, which will give us a much deeper understanding of the initiatives and opportunities that are driving excellence in the IT industry. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce our next honorable speaker, the Chief Executive Officer of IT Park Uzbekistan, Mr. Farhad Ibragimov. Ladies and gentlemen, please lend your attention.
Thank you, Sultan Murad. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. The Honorable Minister, they have a distinguished guest, our guests from the foreign countries, our local resident members and owners. Welcome you to our forum. And first of all, let me, on behalf of my team, apologize for the late starting of this event, for those of you who came in a time. So this is like, as the minister said, it's too early the meeting, but we hope the data which you will get today, the information which you will get today, will cost this. Thank you very much for that. Most of you who start in the business in IT or the enabled services from the foreign countries, first of all, you heard about that from 19th, many countries starting the different incentives to providing that. And most of them is the countries with the highest growth of the population. So Uzbekistan, if you compare with the other countries, start this late. But we took into consideration all the missed conditions which could be provided by the countries or the government. So today, we would like to say that about the empowerment excellence of outsourcing, which could be, you never heard in any country. And the reason why the government let us providing the so comfortable condition for the companies, this is, first of all, this is our population. This is young population, which is the under the 30, 60% of them is under the 30s. So this is for those of you who does know about our Central Asia region. Uzbekistan population is almost the half of the whole region. And the important thing is that in Uzbekistan, this is over than 19 different nations living. So that means that multilingually talking is very used for the Uzbekistan and the culturally. So important thing is that initially we were focused on the English, on the IT and the English for the enabled services. Now we got there is many different demands come, and Uzbekistan can provide that kind of services. So this is very important that understand the land of Uzbekistan is full of the talents, and no wonder that in the first century in our region, Muhammad al-Khwarizmi, he is considering the father of the algebra, and probably the foreigners who, for them, it's probably something new, and this is the background of the science in the digital, everything what we are doing with the software development. And potentially this is a lot of new talents now available, not only in Tashkent and mostly in the region, and my presentation will be focused on that. So we started this from 2017. The Honorable President of Uzbekistan provided the best tax incentives at that time. But the thing is that was the great news for all the companies. In the beginning, even the local companies, we are not talking the foreign, it was one or two foreign company in 2017 at that time. And at that time, with the trust of our government, trust of the companies, local companies, it's beginning. We pay a lot of attention for the creating new legislation, because the ICT is going very fast. And to be in the same shape with the legislation, this is very important. Just imagine, during the 7 years, it was 15 different type of legislation which, or the acts which were adopted by the president or the government for support the residents of IT park and make the Uzbekistan attractive. Another thing is, what we pay attention, this is infrastructure. Now we are located in the IT park area, this is only Tashkent. But the Uzbekistan, this is 13 different regions, and in each region you can see that the branch of IT park with the available office spaces at this time. Another very important issue which we pay attention, this is the education. Education, when we invited the companies 2017 or the 18, yes, it was huge potential of the population growth, but are they get enough education to provide the services for the foreign countries? That was the question at the time. Now we definitely say yes, because we spent a lot of time and investment for making the education as a priority. Probably for those of you who is not only traveling in Tashkent, even the region, you see that a lot of language courses, academias are available, a lot of the IT courses. This is one of the most profitable business in Uzbekistan. That was the idea initially. The government start to support, and finally the companies continue on the development. Now we achieve that. This is very important. And the business itself, they train the people, they hire the people, and they give them good salary. But the thing is, Uzbekistan, as I told you, so 6 million, 20 million potentially could be in the near future the members of your teams. But the thing is, for the local market, this is not enough capacity, the volume of local market, not enough capacity to provide for all of them the relevant job. So that's why we are mostly focusing for the outsourcing companies. And that incentives probably which is providing by ourselves is giving more precise values to companies who's working for overseas. So you see, when we started from 2017, there is the data for 2019, from 2017, I remember myself, so with the support of our program managers, we were going as a team there. We started, it was nothing. It's probably some of you who is for the local companies, you should know that. It was almost nothing. And we started to try to explain them what is IT, the potential, our resources. This is not the land resources, this is not agriculture only, this is human resources first of all. So local companies trust, then trust the foreign company. As soon as we made the, as aforementioned all conditions. So now we reach 1,500 companies, and very important of that, 500 of them are now working for foreign markets. Local markets no more priority for them. And 200, over than 200, around 250, it's important. Last 3 years, we reached that the founders are foreigners. So it means that foreign companies start to trust Uzbekistan. For them, we are no more familiar as the agricultural or the resource country. We are the human resource potential country. This is the thing what we achieved. That it's very short time of period, but we still have a lot of things to do. The export is raising very fast. Can you imagine 2017? Annually, we got the data from statistics. We didn't have data at that time. It's $600 per year. Annually, $600 only. Now we got the per day over than $800. It's $800,000. Sorry, $800,000. It was 600,000. Now it's 800,000, and we reached the end of the year 1 million per day. So this is, from our point of view, this is good achievement, but this is only starting because the potential is much higher than we expected. So important thing is what I'd like to mention that you see that type of the export IT is the main part is going to IT. This is important. But if we compare with the previous years, the BPO was almost the half of our export. So there is a lot of capacity English people in the regions who is the fluently speaking English better than me especially, and can provide the good quality services with the good conditions with the wage perspective. So, and the number of employees for the IT Park resident, it's over than 24,000 right now. And we will see next 3-5 years very fast growth of the employees who will be hired by the IT Park resident. Another information, this is what we started from 2017 and 24. So another thing is incentives for the companies. Those of you who probably first time in Uzbekistan, this is important to see that. You see on the green side, no corporate tax at all. And some of the companies when we visited the foreign countries and talked with companies, for them it's shocked how it could be no corporate tax at all. It's possible in Uzbekistan. And we started from 2017 till now, and none of the company never complain about it. Looks, it's something happened with the tax office about this kind of tax rate. So this is the best condition you have ever seen, probably in all the tax incentives with the countries for development. And the important thing, as I told you, we are mostly trying to focus for the foreign companies. And Uzbekistan is like unknown for most of them, and that's why we set up one-stop shop program, where on behalf of the company we can register the company, register the bank account, all the tax authorities, other authorities registered by ourselves. Relocation, this is also if the company is bringing their own employees to Uzbekistan to start their business to make the TOT for them, we can provide the IT visa as well. Not only for them, for the founders or the CEOs of these new organizations. So, and the soft landing. Soft landing is it was a hard time last year, especially when the companies coming by the hundred of the new employees from overseas. That was the time when we support the families. So we are still able to do this work in the perfect manner, and they're providing the apartments as well. So the next. So the next is what we will do starting from this year. From this year, from the next, we start to be focused, as I told you before, education, it was the facility management, it was the many other things which could be support the development IT. Now we will mostly, the team of IT Park will be focused on nurturing local companies to expand globally and attracting foreign companies to Uzbekistan. This is two main aim of the IT Park. And focusing mostly not for the local companies, local market, only for overseas markets. And we made the target for ourselves as a North American, European Union and UK, many regions and the other regions. So different 4 teams will provide in the language, not always the English, it depends from the country, will provide on the mother tongue language, could it be German, could it be French, or the Spanish, will be provided by our team, the services, and will work with that regions directly. And one of our employees probably will stay in the regions and work especially with the companies on site. And important thing was to mention is annually we will hold 3 events, at least 3 events in Uzbekistan to show the potential, because they're growing very fast. Everything we will have to see what kind of package proposals for the companies. So March, during the springtime, this is the best time to visit Uzbekistan, this is autumn. We have the offshore outsourcing tool for the companies or their clients in the foreign countries who probably still don't know about Uzbekistan. We compensate their trip, and we can make the trip to Uzbekistan to show the universities, to show the companies already providing the services, or the IT services of the name. In July, we will have the Global Business Service Forum, where we invited the speakers to Uzbekistan and showing by the speakers' mind of the thinking how Uzbekistan looks like for the worldwide. In October, in the ICT week from the next year, we will start the Central Asian Outsourcing Summit, because we are trying to go in the market not only by as Uzbekistan, because that could be less known, but as a big region as Central Asia. We have a very good connection with our neighbors, and together we become stronger and bigger. So this is next the plans, what we'll do. And the important thing is, for those of you which were asking to start their business, first of all trying to see the regions. When we started 2017, Tashkent was very attractive because everyone at that time paid a lot of attention starting education in Tashkent. But through 2019, the same hype started in regions, and a lot of new youngsters coming to our area with potentially will be hired as the employees for the foreign company. So for that, we want to show the potential of the regions, and that's why we are launching the program. We call it Zero Risk for the companies, for the owner of the companies who still don't have enough information about Uzbekistan. We are ready to share your risk. For you especially, we'll make the risk as less as possible. That's why we are ready to provide, if the new company during the year will employ at
provide more training for the brands. It means that if you will bring your trainer from abroad, we will compensate for 50% of all his costs in Uzbekistan, and including the salary and the trip cost. We see that the important thing is, probably for some of you, they say that the region, some of the specialist talents are not ready to provide the services right now. Probably it could be yes, but that's why we are compensating 50% of annual salary of that employee who will be employed as a 1 year. We will compensate that 50% because of you spend the time to train him, to make him more eligible specialist to start to work. And we also help to hire the recruitment, to make the recruitment to hire the specialists. So that kind of cost will be covered by us. This is for the foreigners who will start their business in Uzbekistan, especially in the certain different region inside Tashkent. And the second, it is for our local companies who is working for the local market and they want to be going globally. And we are ready to provide to make the team, if the team is used to work for the local market in the national language, and we can provide the English speaking trainer or the trade courses, or the providing the free courses, free Coursera courses. That could be travel, as I mentioned before, travel as a potentially clients of the company. They could be travel by compensation of IT Park. That's also possible. And overseas business trips. IT Park is now, from this year, starting to travel a lot across the world to show the potential which we have in Uzbekistan. And that kind of trips will be included. And 50% compensation of the expert consultancy, if you will hire any kind of CTO or the person who will scale up your products overseas, that salary of that employees will be compensated by 50% by our side. So for that, it should be a legal company, company who is registered in IT Park with the export potential, and the current value should be not less than 5 million soms. This is about $500,000. So this kind of incentives we are starting, and that will be quite attractive because we already got, during the 3 days, we got 4 different apply for the companies. So we are very happy to support you during your journey in Uzbekistan. So now I would like to show you that. Mentioned before that one-stop shop, the locations of lending programs are already provided by us, but very soon, starting from 2024, the news about what will IT Park, how we will change our shape according to the feedback of the current companies. So annually, we are gathering with the resident companies, talking with them and asking what kind of challenges they faced during their operations in Uzbekistan. So previous challenges were solved, and now this is the time to provide the new services. This is the time for the companies who is coming to Uzbekistan and they don't have enough information to provide the analytics services by our side according to their requirements. That will be compensated by IT Park for the newcomers. The analysis services is consulting services. The company,
Actually, the middle and the big-size companies, they used to always hire the consulting services before they come for the new country. And that services also will be provided by us. We especially formed the new team, including the legal, accounting, tax, labor law, all possible questions which will be faced during their stay in Uzbekistan will be provided by us itself. That will be also possible. English speaking, all the specialists will work in IT Park there. So Another thing is recruitment, important. That's it's mostly focusing for the regions. When the people say that there's a lot of people, but I want someone who will speak the Spanish or the Italian. So for that cases, we will have the very great recruitment team, and it could be possible to apply for, even if it's not a zero risk program, even if you need a couple of the new employees, that could be applied to the IT part, and we will compensate all the cost of the HR services or the recruitment services, which could be possible needed by you. Another important thing is offices plug and play. That's if any needs, even in Tashkent, I'm not talking about the zero risk, even in Tashkent, if any new companies, outsourcing companies, even need to find the office, that could be possible by a facility team. And that's kind of services provided by free for office spaces. Though IT Park itself, they have their own spaces, and our partners, we have our own spaces, but mostly focusing in the regions if the companies are interested for that. And IT Park Telecommunication, during our work with the export companies, could it be IT or the BPO, doesn't matter. There is always demand for solving the issues with the VPN. And that issue, starting from 2024, with our partners, Uzbek Telecom, will be solved on IT Park side. It means when you contact, before you have to contact probably to the telecom or the other operators, now you only contact to the IT Park itself, and on the front office, we will have our telecom team in IT Park. We will get the virtual operator office, and this office will provide the services only for IT Park residents. This is only for the companies and IT Park residents itself. This is non-profit business for us, but it is important to provide the good quality services, even the telecommunication. And another issues for the most of the companies who is always asking regarding the foreign currency, that sometimes they face the problem is the different banks with the different understanding of the sum of legal acts which is given for the IT Park residents. And for that, together with our another partner, Aloqa Bank, we are setting up in IT Park the front office of the bank offices. So there is no need to go to the bank at all. Just contact the IT Park. Through IT Park, open the account in the bank. Could it be second account or the main account? And you can get that services as you used to have from our side, from IT Park. You can get it from IT Park. It means that could it be money exchange issues, money repatriation issues, paying the wages for the foreign specialists in the foreign currency. That could be all, everything will be done by our employees jointly with Aloqa Bank. So there is no need anymore to go to the bank and talk with them. I mean, for the IT Park residents, especially for the outsourcing. So that kind of new initiatives come to IT Park, and we hope you will really enjoy your operation, business in Uzbekistan. So everything is doing for development of the companies who's providing the services, first of all, for the overseas. This is like main idea of the development at this time. So this is all what I want to say. During today's session, there will be a lot of questions which could be asked by us, and we'll have the lunch after that. So feel free always to ask any kind of any kind of minds, which if you have questions with them, which not mentioned here. And this is another thing is you can see the QR code here. We launched a new website, especially for the companies who's working overseas. This is all incentives are providing here. My presentation could be here. All the video clips or the data is also available. Feel free, please, to ask the questions. We hope you will start your journey with us, and we will grow your business together. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ibrahimov. Wonderful speech. Thank you so much. Truly, over the past couple of years, Uzbekistan has changed drastically, and Uzbekistan's government and the initiatives have touched all parts of the economy, and information technologies is not set aside. And I would like to thank first to the great leadership team of the Ministry of Digital Technologies and IT Park Uzbekistan for a huge contribution and to be the leaders in the global transformation of IT outsourcing and BPO in Uzbekistan. Now it's my time to introduce our next esteemed guest, a prominent site selector, analyst, and publisher at Unido Digital Media, Mr. Lauren Moss, who will enlighten us on the topic of Uzbekistan's outsourcing market. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Lauren Moss. It's right there.
Good morning. Good morning. Is there no coffee yet? Good morning. Okay, there we go. Okay. Sometimes I feel if I don't get any crowd interaction, I feel like I'm boring everybody to death. So I like to look out there and make sure that people are awake. My name is Lauren Moss, so thank you very much for your time, for being here. I want to thank also Minister Shermatov as well, and IT Park CEO Mr. Ibrahimov, and also the entire the wonderful team of IT Park I've gotten to know over the past months, and it's an incredible team and the effort that they put together here. Briefly, most of you don't know me, my background. So I'm basically in the problem avoidance business. I'm a consultant. I help clients. Basically, I help companies make smart decisions when they're looking at location decisions, that they're looking at where to set up operations around the world. And also I work with governments to help with their promotion of foreign direct investments and to help them avoid being a problem. So I help them to have a clear understanding of who they are, who they aren't, and where there's a good fit. And so I've worked on projects in most parts of the world and things like that. And so I want to talk about my findings and what I've learned really relatively quickly about the situation here on the ground in Uzbekistan. Now, I knew that the IT Park team was going to put together lots of statistics and numbers. And at first I was going to put together a presentation, talk about kind of quantitatively how wonderful things are, but I knew that they were going to cover that. So I wanted to speak a little bit more. I said, how can I kind of differentiate myself and provide some value and talk about some things that I knew that they weren't really going to focus on, to kind of give you a broader picture of things. But before I go on, how many people here are here in Uzbekistan for the very first time? Okay, great. So I'm here. This is my second time here. I've learned a lot. I was here before, and it blew me away. You know, now I knew I have friends from the region. I knew people already in the area. I hadn't done business here yet, but I've run across a lot of people who really, you know, knew little to nothing. And so one of the things I think about is, okay, when I got the call and Medina, who's actually here last year, I couldn't make it last year because I had a scheduling conflict, but she said, we want you to come over and see what we have going on. But I said, okay, what do I know about Uzbekistan, and why would I want to go, and what's going on there? What's the motive? And so a lot of times, and like I've told the team, some places have a bad reputation that they have to overcome. Maybe the country had some conflict or used to be dangerous, or some other things happened, and now they're overcoming that. Uzbekistan luckily does not have that problem, but the challenge is there's kind of no reputation at all outside of the region. And so what IT Park and what the Ministry of Technologies is trying to do is really overcome that and generate and establish a reputation. So when we think about, I remember, I'm old enough, I remember back in between like 89 and 91 when the countries in this region gained their independence. But something interesting happened. Uzbekistan really, the transformation that you see here today didn't start really until 2016, in my opinion. I have a friend who was over here about 20 years ago, was like a Peace Corps or State Department kind of program. And when I came a few months ago and sent back pictures and things like that, she couldn't believe it was the same country. Because Uzbekistan, I've seen it's done more in less than 10 years. Really start the calendar in 2016, because that's when things really started to change here. And the transformation that's been made is amazing. One of the things that happened, you're going to go to a place for the first time, you look up information. I went onto YouTube to look at things, and I went to go read news articles, but I found something interesting, and that's something that we're also trying to work on. I met a colleague here from Maine in the PR business, and I know IT Park is working on this, and that's that a lot of the news is outdated. A lot of the information that you read is from a few years ago, and so that doesn't give you an accurate picture of things on the ground. That picture I took right there, that's in their immaculate, spotless subway system. It's every station is like a museum. This is a picture right here. This is a night view of the city. I took that back in July, and looking out, you see, it's amazing, because if you were here, I wasn't, but if you go and look at pictures from just 10 years ago, it was nothing like that. You guys are here now. You see that it's a modern, world-class city. It's a world-class capital. Not only that, it's the 4th lowest cost capital for cost of living, national capital of anywhere in the world. And that's an amazing thing. And so this is what we're talking about now. So when you talk to colleagues, we had a situation, Sultan, we invited an executive from a major, one of the top 20 global BPO companies, and he couldn't come because his risk department said, well, it's not that Uzbekistan had a bad reputation, but it just wasn't in their database. So when their risk management people said, okay, we're going to approve you for the travel policy, the challenge that we're facing was that they weren't even in the database. So it wasn't a bad reputation, it's no reputation. And I think that part of what IT Park is doing such a good job about is fixing that. There's a lot of work to be done. But then I think that all of you that are here on the ground, that go back to your organizations, whether they're enterprises, whether they're agencies, whether they're NGOs, it's important, I think, to talk about what you see here. The country, I'm amazed at how forward-looking things are. All the slides that you've seen so far today are talking about the current incentives and the future plans, what the country hopes to do by 2030. But, the history here, though, they have a solid foundation that goes back well over 1,000 years. You guys know it was a Silk Road country. Timur was kind of like the father of the country. There's an ethnic and linguistic similarity to Turkish language, but as you guys know, the language skills here are amazing. The first time I was here, I thought I was going to need an interpreter with me as I went around in my free time. Not the case. It's not 100% English speaking, but you guys can see the signs. They went immediately back in the early 90s over to the Latin alphabet, and now you guys can see driving around that the signs are, English has become the third and rapidly becoming the second language. It's a secular state. A lot of times, I'm from the U.S., I live in South America now, but I'm from North America, and people don't understand one stand from another. They go, okay, I told somebody I'm going to Uzbekistan. They said Afghanistan? I said no. I said Uzbekistan. Somebody else said Pakistan? I said no. And if you're in this area, it's silly because you guys know your own neighborhood. But the further away you go, there's less knowledge. And so people kind of they always think about the most exotic thing. But, there's a beautiful history here. It's a secular country, but there's such an amazing, diverse, tolerant history. There's a Korean community that goes back to the Soviet days that's really vibrant and interesting. There's obviously a Russian community. I was talking to my friend who went out yesterday to a Jewish restaurant. There's an amazing diverse community here of all different kinds of people. And that's an advantage because as you need language skills and as you have a global workforce, you're going to find that reflected here in Uzbekistan. A lot of times when we go places, we talk about governance and we want to make sure that there are human rights and civil rights. And one of the things when I was here the last time elections were going on. Now, the current administration is very, very popular, and they just got another mandate. But I've been to places where it's kind of not so convenient to go out and campaign. But it happened here. Now, the elections were won, and the current administration, you can see because of all the work that they're doing, was very popular. But I saw that there is actually a vibrant, it's nascent, it's young, it's getting started, but there is a real, there are differences of opinions, and it's safe to go out and express those in a civil way. And that was very impressive for me to see that. And I think that that's very important. And a lot of companies with their governance and with their social commitment, this is more and more important these days. And I wanted to reassure, not like I'm the expert, but I saw with my own eyes that here, that's in place and it's growing. No place is perfect, but the thing is that that's taking root here. And so that's one thing that I don't think you have to be concerned about. Now, I went out the last time and I walked around. I always, when I go to a place, especially somewhere new, I want to kind of get a feel for the place and see what it's like and get away from all the meetings and everything like that. And I was able to do that. And so what did I see? I was out just taking pictures, and I was walking down. I went to go get some boʻlib, which is the delicious kind of national food, a rice and meat dish. And when I was going to the boʻlib restaurant, which was by the big TV tower, we took the subway to get there. I saw this sign, and I saw this sign where not only are they teaching English to students, you know, some of us went yesterday and visited the Astrium School, which was an amazing place, but there's all these different schools that are teaching languages, that have speaking clubs, but I also noticed that they also have SAT, so if you want to get into like a university in the U.S., you may have to take the SAT. There's also IELTS, which I think it's a European qualification. I've saw other signs for GMAT, things like that to get into graduate school. And so you see that it's not just government talk, but you see that the whole, I guess, society is engaged with this. And I think that that's why the current administration is popular, because there's an alignment between what you see out there in the street, what you see on the ground, and what the policy is. So the policy that the Honorable Minister talked about and Mr. Ibrahimov talked about is something that is aligned with what the people want. You know, it's a very young population. I think 29 years old is the median age in the workforce. Sultan knows, and Azizbek knows, we went to Texas, and some of the executives that we met with, they came up to me and said, well, where are the bosses? And I said, these guys are the bosses. And they said, well, those kids? And I said, yeah, but they're good and they know what they're doing. But the thing is, there's this young, vibrant, it's exciting to work with this team because you see such a young demographic and you think about what they're doing now. And I just imagine what they're going to accomplish in 2030 or 10 years from now. And so there's an alignment that I see here. And I think that it's important to point out, because when you come in here and if you set up operations, you're going to find there's some places you go into and there's resistance. I see in some jurisdictions or countries, outsourcing has a bad name, or there's resistance to foreign companies coming in. That's not the case here. You're going to be welcome. They want you here. The government wants you here. The employees want you here. The public wants you here. And you're going to find that they're going to roll out the welcome mat for you. I mean, you just saw those incentives. And I've worked with a lot of different investment promotion agencies. A lot of them have been formal clients of mine. A lot of them I've worked with informally. And I've never seen an incentive package as aggressive, a formal incentive package as aggressive as the one that they're offering to even small employers, 50 people. You know, I live now in South America. I live in Colombia. And, you know, outsourcing is big down there, but the mayor wouldn't come out to see you for 50 seats. They'd be glad that you're there, but that's no big deal, you know. And so I think that the thing is that here you're going to get a reception, you're going to get support, and you're going to get the foundations that you need. Now, I went around. We talk about languages. I went around the last time I was here, and you obviously can get not just the Uzbek language, which is very similar to Turkish. So a lot of people can speak Turkish. You also have a lot of people, especially the older generation, that can speak Russian as well. English is catching on. This is a sign. This wasn't even really in a super touristy area. I mean, you get some tourists who go down to the bazaar and things like that. But the point is that you've got thousands of German speakers. You got like, I think 50,000 German speakers. You have Korean speakers. I was when I was out on my own time the last time, I was kind of doing some tourism. And there was a guide. I was actually at that mosque, and the guide was kind of telling me the history of this and that. And he realized, he said, "Oh, you live in Colombia?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Can I switch to you to Spanish?" And I said, "Sure." And he was a local guy from Uzbekistan, and his Spanish was better than his English. And he gave me the rest of the tour in Spanish. I didn't expect to get Spanish language here, but they've got it. You know, so you have the languages, you have the young workforce, you have the inexpensive wages. And as you can already see, information technologies is a strategic focus. It's a strategic focus, not just with the government, but also in the private sector. And you're going to find, I think, you're not going to be disappointed, based on my own research and based on the things that I've seen, that when you come here, you're going to have the talent in place that's ready, eager to work, and qualified for you. Now, one of the important things, I've seen deals happen and I've seen deals fall apart when it comes to the BPO sector, when it comes to site selection and locations, because you might go into a country and everything looks okay on paper, but the executives, to be blunt, simply don't look forward to visiting their operations in that country. I've seen clients get in trouble because they had operations in different countries and nobody from the home office wanted to go and supervise things. Nobody wanted to go and do their periodic visits, and things kind of fell off the rails because it was just not a pleasant place necessarily to go visit or attractive. That's not the case here. What's it going to be like? Am I going to come here? Am I going to be shut up in the hotel? Is it going to be a security risk? No, this isn't the case. You know, it's a family-friendly country. It's socially tolerant. You have all different types of you know, as the largest country in Central Asia in terms of population with 36 million, you've got people from the surrounding region. The government does it's a tough job, but they do a very good job of balancing relations with a lot of competing powers that are around. You know, we're in a fluid global situation right now, and the government of Uzbekistan has, so far, in my opinion, done a very good job, all things considered, in managing and balancing those relationships. And so it's very clean. You guys can see that already. It's very safe. It's ranked, I don't know, I forget where the ranking came from, as the 9th safest country in the world. And I believe it. You know, I went out and walked around by myself. You know, it's a low crime country. It's a country where you can come and do business and not be worried about having to, I've been to countries before and they have to pick you up in a convoy of armored cars. That's not the case here, okay? You're gonna wanna come here when you have business meetings and things like that with your team, and you're gonna wanna bring your family. You know, I wanna come back here and bring my wife. I mean, the tourism, I tell the guys at IT Park, you guys are not focusing enough, not your agency, I know it's not your job, but you're not focusing enough in Uzbekistan on tourism. And you ought to focus more on that, okay? Because even in this, and I've seen this too, Jamaica's a good example. That raises, when you bring people to visit your country, they start saying, hey, maybe we could set up operations here. Or yeah, I want to go back. I want an excuse, rather than saying, oh, I have to go there. People go, well, I can't wait to go there, okay? And there's so much to see and there's so much to do. And you're going to find that you're going to want to do business here, not just because of the numbers, but because you're going to look forward to coming back again and again. Now, impact sourcing is something that is important for outsourcing companies. It's important for shared services operations, for any kind of company that has global operations, meaning that we want to do business with the place, but we want to make sure that we're having a positive impact. One of the things that stood out to me is I've seen efforts here on the ground. When you go to visit some of the operations, if you take site visits, you're going to see there's not yet a lot of women working in the second and third shift IT operations and contact center operations. But the cool thing is I see a concerted effort by both governments and local NGOs, not somebody from far away coming and telling them what they ought to do, but people on the ground with programs. There was a session yesterday, I didn't get a chance to go, about bringing more women, back home we would call it STEM, you know, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, bringing more women into the field. And so it's not that they're being kept out, you know, so the thing is that when you bring operations here, you will also be able to participate and to contribute to that impact sourcing initiative by your own hiring practices. So that's something that's a challenge that's being worked on here. You have a very young population, you have an eager to work population, and the country, obviously for the country to grow, it needs the economy to grow. And for that to happen, the incomes need to grow and employment needs to be there. And I think we all have a stake, no matter where we are in the world, to contribute to that and to do our part. So we're going to get the quality talent that we need, but by doing that, we're also going to contribute to the growth and the stability and the social vibrancy of Uzbekistan. You know, Uzbekistan was a famous part of the Silk Road. I think today we've gone from silk to silicon. And so now it's time for Uzbekistan to be part of the Silicon Road, if you will, and to retake its position as a hub and kind of as a meeting point between East and West. You know, one thing I want to leave you with is that in site selection, we talk about saturation. And that's when you go into a market and like there's already too many of whatever you need. So like if you go into San Jose, California, Silicon Valley, and you need to hire a programmer, well, they all have jobs. So it's going to be hard to find one and you can't find anybody. So that's saturation. Now what happens is I would encourage you to get in earlier rather than later, because I think that pretty soon things are going to grow here. And when the big, you know, we talk about rabbits and bears. When the bears come in and the big giant global companies come in and hire up 5,000 people and 10,000 people, you might need 50 or 100 people. It's going to be a lot harder. So when you establish your operations here now, the talent's already here. So get in now before the word gets out. And that would be my advice to, in a general sense, to companies that would consult with me. So I want to leave you with that. I would love to talk with anyone afterwards about, you know, my personal experience here, opinions. As you can tell, I'm very optimistic, enthusiastically so about Uzbekistan. And I hope that I've been able to share a little bit of that with you this morning. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Truly, Uzbekistan is the next land of massive untapped opportunities. And I wanted to extend my big thanks to Lauren for a continued contribution to this and helping us and cooperating with us to create awareness about our market. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and it's an immense pleasure to introduce our next speaker, the founding partner at Emerging Europe, Mr. Andrew Grobel. His speech on global trends and BPO and opportunities and challenges for Uzbekistan promised to shed the light on larger global context. Thank you so much for joining us.
A very good morning to everyone. I hope you're enjoying all the information that we've been trying to share with you. So, do you know what earned my admiration for Uzbekistan? I don't mean the breathtaking path that I saw in Samarkand a couple of days ago. That was really stunning. So let me tell you, a bit more than 2.5 years ago, I was speaking to a friend of mine who works for one of the big four, is based in Poland, Canadian, and we were talking about sustainable growth. And he said to me, dude, you need to check this out. And I said, what do you mean? Well, you know, that Uzbekistan released its first ESG report. And I was, what? Uzbekistan? What do you mean? I really apologize for my ignorance, but my knowledge of Uzbekistan at the time wasn't particularly exemplary. So I'm quite ashamed of that, but I did check out the report and I was really impressed with that. Now, sustainability, innovativeness, and entrepreneurship are really the pillars for us at Emerging Europe, because we are an organization which I founded a decade ago, and we see these three as key drivers of development, not only in our core region, in the 23 countries of Central and Eastern Europe that we cover, but also here in Central Asia, where we are putting together several different programs related to tech. Today, I'd like to share my thoughts and insights related to global business services, which we as an organization are deeply involved in, and help companies which are interested in setting up an operation, a new delivery center in this part of the world, and also with governments which are looking to promote and also come up with a new strategy for their location. We are focused primarily on the European and the US market. But if we look at the sector globally, the industry has grown by leaps and bounds for the last 30 years and is now worth over 300 billion US dollars. It's a massive amount. And despite the unprecedented events and challenges that we've been seeing, including the pandemic, the robustness of that industry has shown that there is confidence in that model going forward. And after the pandemic, the industry has been growing at some 10-15%. So there is still more growth than there was slightly before the pandemic, because it managed to bounce back. And now in 2023, with all the macroeconomic challenges, including inflation and so on, there is huge demand for outsourcing and to outsource more. And if I look at how much the sector has grown in Central and Eastern Europe, in Emerging Europe, over the last 15 years, it's absolutely stunning, because 15 years ago, that sector didn't really exist there. And now it's one of the leading global business services superpower. And when I think at some of the regions, sub-regions within Central and Eastern Europe, take Krakow, for example, and when we look at cities like that, which was one of the first cities that really hopped on that train, we think that the market is so saturated, yet there are newcomers entering the market and finding their own place there. So there is room for them as well. But you can see how much progress the region has made, and I believe that there is similar room for progress here in Uzbekistan. But today I would like to share some of the key insights that we hear from companies that come to us for support in finding the right location in the region. And this isn't without a reason why I started talking about sustainability, because sustainability and ESG, or environmental, social, and corporate governance, are becoming more and more important in the outsourcing sector. And they will become even more essential, especially in Europe and in the European Union, because in January this year, the European Union's directive that looks at reporting of ESG reporting came into force. And right now, some 50,000 companies that are based in the EU will be required to release ESG reports, and the first report is due in 2025. Out of those 50,000 companies, some 10,000 companies are headquartered outside the EU. And some of the areas that need to be discussed in these reports are, for example, the company's impact on society and environment, anti-corruption, treatment of employees, diversity, respect for individuals and their civil liberties, and forward-looking ESG targets. As a matter of fact, I see these areas being very important in countries like the UK, where I have come from. And it is, these companies are bound to pass these requirements onto their service providers. So I believe it is something to remember about from the start. I mentioned diversity. Let's add inclusion to that. I hear these two words very often, and I was glad to yesterday hear examples of some initiatives that are taking place here in Uzbekistan, and one of them related to supporting people with disabilities and also women in starting their careers in the IT sector. Now, automation, artificial intelligence, and other disruptive technologies are going to affect the industry going forward. On the tech side, I think it is important to also mention cybersecurity and compliance. These are especially, within the last couple of years, have become particularly important. From what we hear, cost doesn't seem to be a primary objective. And it is all about talent. And I was really impressed by the numbers here, because it shows that Uzbekistan is on its way to provide that talent. But when it comes to talent, it's not only the tech skills, it's also about languages. And I have to say one thing which perhaps is not going to be popular. English, unfortunately, is not something specifically unique here. It is expected that it does, regardless of the country that the agent or the specialist is from and what the native language is, they must speak English. It's just an obvious thing. The languages that are becoming important are German, and I was glad to see that over 500,000 speakers of German live in Uzbekistan. But other languages are Dutch, Scandinavian languages. They are the most frequently sought after. Now, the truth is that not a lot of companies are eager to explore destinations or countries that they know nothing or hardly anything about, no matter how the IT sector is thriving. And I recently spoke with a friend of mine who runs, or co-runs, she's a co-founder of an outsourcing company based in New York. And we discussed Moldova. And she said, you know what? I feel Moldova is like a hole in a donut, surrounded by all these, IT superpowers like Poland, Ukraine, and Romania. And I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't go there because I know nothing about it. Meanwhile, and these are legitimate statistics, exports in Moldova is growing exponentially, just like here in Uzbekistan. And if you look at the share of the population of all the employed people in the economy that work in the IT sector, it's actually way higher than it is in Poland, Ukraine, and Romania. In fact, it's actually only second to Estonia, which, as we all know, is the digital superpower in, global, I would say, not only in the region. So I think it is this constant awareness building activities and being able to address challenges and mitigate potential risk in the local market that needs to be seen as a must. Once the companies are familiar with the country, they are increasingly more interested in avoiding the biggest cities. We see that in Central and Eastern Europe, companies are increasingly more interested in looking at secondary and even tertiary cities with a population of about 100,000 people. So, because they are looking for that talent that I was referring to. What is really important here is that this talent is actually sustainable. So going forward within the next few years, that talent will be there. Another thing that is worth remembering about is cultural aspects. Last year, we were asked to reevaluate a location from an outsourcing company in the region. And it turned out that the reason why the location was underperforming was not the local situation, was not the availability of talent, none of this. The problem was that there was some sort of disconnection between the management that was sitting on a completely different continent and the local team, and the site manager was unable to communicate and manage the expectations of both the employees on the site and also the management that was sitting somewhere else. I think things like connectivity, economic and political stability, and geopolitics are things worth considering. I think from what we hear again, tax incentives appear to be usually sort of a little bit lower on that list of things that are interesting for companies that are looking to set up a new operation. What locations that are trying to encourage companies to set up a new operation don't always remember about is that some companies will not be able to make a decision on their own. And I'm talking about outsourcing companies that want to potentially set up in Uzbekistan or in any other country. They will have to consult their customers, because especially the ones that will be served from that specific market. And the range of reasons why they don't want to set up an operation in a specific market can be really, really wide. And I remember one company from the US was telling us that that particular location that we listed as a potential place wouldn't work for them because Bank of America wouldn't be able to handle transactions from that location. So that was one of the, so as you can see, reasons might be very, very different. Lauren has already mentioned impact sourcing, and I think that is something really, really interesting and important to think about, especially in countries, in locations and geographies where the sector hasn't particularly developed too much yet. It is all about all those marginalized communities that are typically excluded from employment. And I was glad to hear about a lot of initiatives taking place in the regions here in Uzbekistan, because that might help. I won't dwell on that too much because, like I said, Lauren has already partially covered it. But I think that companies in the US, in the UK, and all over Europe, I think will be very much interested, because they have these marginalized communities in their own countries as well. So it's not a thing that happens only in emerging economies. But they once supporting, once coming to a geography which gives this opportunity of applying this model is a great opportunity, because it actually helps connect with the local talent, which is very often way more committed to working because they are just given a chance. And in that way, talking about impact sourcing, we're coming back to the very beginning of my talk, and we're coming back to ESG when we started. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Robel. We're truly honored to have such esteemed guests sharing their expertise and insights with us today. Now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce the head of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization of Korea, Mr. Mengo Shin, for a presentation that will offer a visionary perspective on the future development of Uzbekistan's IT industry and highlight the collaborative efforts between Uzbekistan and Korea. Let us warmly welcome him to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. I'm deeply honored to address you today as a representative from UNIDO, United Nations Industrial Development Organization, specifically UNIDO Investment and Technology Promotion Office in Korea. I have the privilege of sharing my perspective on future development of Uzbekistan's IT industry with you. But before I delve into that, I would like to provide some context about UNIDO, since you may not be so familiar with our organization. UNIDO is one of the specialized agencies like World Bank, IMF, WHO, ILO, but it is dedicated to the industrial development of member states, particularly those in developing world. The UNIDO Investment and Technology Promotion Office in Korea, or ITPO Korea, we call it, focuses on encouraging Korean private companies and public institutions to invest in and transfer technology to our partner countries for the industrial development. We have been collaborating very closely with Uzbek government and the local companies, particularly through UNIDO advisor stationed here. I'm pleased to introduce UNIDO advisor in Uzbekistan, taking advantage of this opportunity, Mr. Daniel Usmanov. Please welcome him with applause. I'd like to express my deep gratitude to Mr. Daniel Usmanov for his outstanding contribution and performance here. ITPO Korea is committed to being a valuable partner in Uzbekistan's pursuit of sustainable and inclusive industrial and technological development. In today's world, IT experts say that they wake up every morning with a sense of surprise because every day they see so many new IT or AI technologies come into market. IT and AI have become essential components for all industries, including even agriculture and environmental sectors. They are also indispensable tools for addressing global challenges. However, their rapid evolution are widening the technology gap among nations at an unprecedented pace. This situation presents both opportunities and challenges to all of us. Effective utilization of this opportunity can propel us towards even faster development, but failure to do so could result in falling further behind. We are at critical moment. Allow me to draw upon the South Korean experience, as the country is renowned for having one of the strongest IT industries globally. How did a nation suffering from extreme poverty a few decades ago achieve such a remarkable progress in a short period? First and foremost, I believe the government policy played a pivotal role. The Korean government actively supported the IT industry by designating it as a key national sector and consistently investing in its growth. In 1999, the government initiated the basic plan for the development of the information and communication industry, laying the foundation for the domestic ICT industry's development through policies such as the establishment of high-speed information networks and the creation of funds to promote informatization. Since then, the government has continued to support R&D and infrastructure development in cutting-edge technology fields, including 5G, AI, and big data. Secondly, the development of human resources and educational infrastructure is vital. Nurturing skilled professionals in any field, including IT, is a long-term investment that requires vision and unwavering commitment. From the outset of its economic development, Korea invested significantly in education. Government institutions, universities, and research organizations collaborated to cultivate talent and conduct research in cutting-edge technologies. Based on these abundant human resources, Korean private companies could aggressively go into the global market. I think IT is a sector which relies on human factor very heavily, rather than on the previous or existing level of industrial development. It means that even a single genius can make a huge difference in IT landscape in any country. I'm confident that the Uzbek government has demonstrated its commitment to IT development through various reforms, incentives, and e-governance initiatives. Uzbekistan's IT sector has shown remarkable growth in recent years, with the comprehensive digitalization programs resulting in IT emerging as a leading industry, attracting foreign companies and witnessing exponential growth. I think I don't have to repeat the achievements of Uzbekistan in IT area in recent years, because this morning we have heard already the explanations about this from CEO of IT part. But anyway, this is very, very impressive achievement from any global standard. Nonetheless, there is always room for improvement in what we do, because we are human beings. World Bank once pointed out that Uzbekistan should improve, particularly in the areas of IT education and training, regulatory reform, and coordination among government agencies. After I heard the policy efforts of the Uzbekistan government this morning, I think this World Bank assessment may be already outdated, but the assessment of objective outsider is always deserves some consideration. I think what is important is consistency of the government policy, transparency, and strong determination. With these requirements satisfied, I think Uzbekistan can further advance its IT sector, reaping economic and social benefits in the process. I want to emphasize the potential for Uzbekistan to invest in education, research, and innovation, transforming itself into a significant player on the global IT stage. In particular, Uzbekistan's youthful population, with 60% of its 36 million citizens under the age of 30, presents a unique and a sizable labor force for the IT sector. Investing in education is, I think, the most effective way to develop a competitive workforce, both domestically and internationally, making them a driving force behind the growth of the IT industry. I'm pleased to note that some Korean universities, private companies, and public institutions are actively contributing to nurturing IT talent in Uzbekistan. Korea, with its technological expertise and unfortunately very much aging population, can be an ideal partner for Uzbekistan, given its strong potential and youthful population. I envision the creation of vibrant startup ecosystem where young innovators can bring their ideas to life. This would foster a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship, connecting local talent with global networks and resources. As we collectively work towards this vision, we recognize that it is not the responsibility of a single organization or nation, but rather a shared endeavor. UNIDO and its ITPO Korea are dedicated to working with Uzbekistan's IT industry in achieving these objectives. Through our programs, knowledge sharing, and global network, we aim to be a partner in your journey towards a thriving IT sector. Together, I'm confident that we can turn this vision into reality, firmly establishing Uzbekistan's place in the global IT landscape. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I invite each of you to a well-deserved coffee break and a networking session. This concludes the first part of today's outsourcing forum. So please return promptly at 11:40 as we delve into the second part for a stimulating panel discussion on exploring opportunities and challenges of ITES outsourcing in Uzbekistan. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to seeing you in 20 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you.